What's going on, you guys? So, I hope you are all having an insanely awesome day today. Chances are, though, yesterday wasn't, today won't be either. I'm sorry. Uh, what I wanted to talk about was habits. Habits. This is how our brain operates. Okay? You woke up this morning, and I can almost guarantee you were probably thinking the same things you were thinking about yesterday. Because that's what makes the brain efficient. It always seeks efficiency, right? Like I'm sure a lot of you have heard the term neurons to fire together, wire together. Right? And the brain, just to make things a lot easier, it likes to automate things. Okay, like you get up, grab your coffee, go brush your teeth, do all these different things, right? It becomes a pattern of behavior. And with that behavior, your thoughts get attached to it. So if you're waking up and you're thinking about a fight you had, if you're thinking about the stresses of the day, if you're already planning things out, well, then that gets wired in with those behaviors. Think about that. How you start your day, the intention you place, the emotions you place, and emotions, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. All the behavior that you engage in gets wired in with that. Okay, so now imagine this: like you wake up, you're reliving the day before. Okay, you wake up with those same stresses. Maybe you wake up and you just immediately jump on your phones, start scrolling through your social media, or maybe you start checking the news. Okay, so now of course if you're checking the news, it's a high probability that you guys are looking at negative news, because that's what news is. It's always feeding you anything that's fear-driven, panic-driven. That's how they make their sales. That's how they get you engaged. That's how they keep you engaged. If you're starting off with that, and then you go about your day, the brain in its pure efficiency is going to start wiring those emotions with your behaviors. And now your behaviors are going to start to get correlated with those emotions. So you wake up every single day, you start going about your routine. And you're wiring all that negativity. You're wiring it in. And in fact, emotions actually tell the brain, hey, this is significant. Okay, it could be negative, it could be positive. The best day of your life, you just got married, or maybe you just landed that job, or you graduated, whatever that is, right? Like you're feeling so happy. Okay, that experience gets wired into you, right? We only ever really remember the best things that happen to us and the worst things that happen to us for this reason. Okay, because conversely, if you experience something super traumatic and painful, maybe the death of a loved one, that also just gets wired into your brain. It gets wired into your biology, into your body. You know, there's a wonderful book out that I totally recommend checking out. It's called The Body Keeps Score. There you go. See, it was coming to me. Body Keeps Score. Phenomenal book that really talks about this. You know, our entire bodies carry our emotions, and they carry our memories. Now, today is a hopeful message, because really what I want to start to talk about, explain, and down the road really teach you and guide you on is learning how to rewire these things. Because guess what? If you could wake up in the morning, go with me on this, wake up in the morning and immediately allow the first things you think about and feel be positive, you're actually wiring that as your default program. Okay? The more you do it, the better it gets. And why is the morning such a critical phase? Well, because you're in that twilight state. You know, in previous videos, I've talked about different brainwaves, but I'll kind of just really briefly skim over it today. When you're up and alert, like me right now, like I'm in beta state, right? And beta can have different ranges, right? Like you can be on a lower range where you're just like, you're calm, but you're alert, right? There's another one where, you know, it could be where you find yourself in a situation like, let's say you're at a party and you're trying to remember people's names, so you're under a little bit of pressure. It's a bit of stress, right? But it's a positive stress. Now you could be on the high end of that, where you're just really in a chronically anxious state. Okay, and that's beta. That's your faster brainwave. Then you have alpha, which is what I think a lot of people really associate alpha with, is just this like flow-like state. You're awake, but you're almost in this meditative flow. Like, and that one also has different bands that it gets broken up into. So you could be on a lower end or a higher end. Again, not going to dive too deep into it. I just want you to have an idea. Then you have theta, which is really more correlated with this sort of subconscious state, and delta, which is really your sleep state, which is the slowest brainwave. Now, to not get too off the path, you can actually access all those states even while you're fully conscious. And I don't want to overwhelm you with that right now. But when you're waking up, guess what? You are in this twilight state between alpha and theta. Okay? So you're kind of rising up from the subconscious into your conscious state. And alpha bridges your subconscious with your conscious. And so when you're waking up, for those first like five minutes or so, you're in the perfect place to prime yourselves for the day ahead, and to actually start to work on rewiring that. There's so many different ways to rewire the brain. I mean, you can even use breath work with this. This is something I've been experimenting with and having a lot of fun with, and it's been very powerful. But use this, because this is a simple hack that anyone can do. Use those first 5 minutes to instill yourselves with positive emotion, to instill yourselves with feelings of gratitude, with feelings of love, thinking about the things you're already currently now grateful for. You know, because I think very often we start to think about all the things we don't want in our lives, right? All the problems we're facing in our lives. I talked about this in the last video. We're very problem oriented, you know, but we can start to train ourselves to just focus on the things we want to create, focus on the things we want to have more of, and actually finding those things that are already currently there. You know, there are things right now that we can access happiness and gratitude anytime. We can find little pockets in our lives where we are abundant, whether it's with our health or our finances. You know, really starting to look into the small things, because then you build momentum, and that momentum will carry you into actually creating and building more of that. So use that opportunity, those first 5 minutes, to start to wire those emotions into yourselves, because like I said, you change your default programming, the lens through which you look at the world through, that you kind of filter information coming in. You can shift that. Use that opportunity to do so. Okay? And then go about your day. Wire that in with your day-to-day behaviors. Okay, guys, 90% of what we were thinking about yesterday is what we're thinking about today, right? And so my recommendation to you is start creating novelty. We get into these grooves, we get into these patterns. Again, it's efficient, right? It allows us to automate our lives, to take away decision making, and to strip us of, well, to prevent us from having to utilize all our willpower. And there is such a thing as decision making fatigue, and there is a way, and there is such a thing as, you know, just like having to make so many decisions to the point where, and that's really what willpower fatigue is as well. It's just really just like making all these decisions to not do certain things, right? That's really where that whole willpower thing comes from. But start to also infuse your days with novelty. So if you can really start to find pockets, especially in the morning, of course, but then throughout your day, like finding opportunities, even set an alarm for this, where you can just find things to be grateful for. Think about people that you love. Think about people who love you. Like, feel loved, feel cared for. My gosh, sometimes I just mumble over myself. Feel cared for. Think about these things. Infuse yourself with these emotions, and then really start to also think about the direction you want to move in, because then you put yourself into a state where the intentions you're placing start to get wired into you, wired into your subconscious. And you'll see your life start to shift as a result of that. So start to play with that, start to work with that. Again, there's so many different tools and techniques and practices that I honestly do every single day just because it does that for me. Okay? You can put yourself into these states, but this is just a very quick one. So start to infuse your day with positivity, with these good emotions, and then infuse your day also with novelty. Do things differently. I know you've probably heard this, but like variety is the spice of life. Like if you take a different path to work or to school, or if you just do things that are just part of your morning or evening routine, if you start to shift that around a little bit, you're telling the brain, okay, there's something new here to learn. Okay, let's see. And then you can actually start to really, truly rewire yourselves. Because if you're currently in a place, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, that you're not happy with, that's a result of a lot of accumulated habits. So you can start to repattern those. And this is what I'm doing currently with myself. And just this whole thing that I'm currently developing, this Neuro Architecting, right? You become the architect of your own neurobiology. You become the chief builder. You choose how to create your life. The thoughts you want to think, the emotions you want to feel, the life you want to experience and live. You can become the architect of your own lives. It starts with you, though. It starts with the practices just like this one. So play with it. Get going. Novelty. Positive emotion. Do it first thing in the morning. Fill yourself with gratitude. Fill yourself with love. And then set the intentions for the life you want to build, for the world you want to create. Become solution-oriented. Focus on creating. I promise you, your lives will start to change. With that, guys, if you have any questions, of course, just reach out to me. I'm so happy to talk about this stuff. I'm so happy to just support you in any way that you need. So reach out to me. I'm here for you. Okay? And with that, wishing you guys an incredible day. Make it awesome. You can. And much love, guys. Much love. Peace.